Hello, YouTube. I know, it's been a while. But welcome to Universe Sandbox 2. Yep, just bought the game a few days ago. And yeah, so Universe Sandbox 2. Now, I have been busy doing some stuff in this game. It's awesome. I love this. It's just so cool. You get that reference. But anyways, yeah, love it simulator. You got you can have stars, planets, simulating weather effects and everything. Slow down here. Simulate. This has even details with city lights for planets. You can do that, but if I go to open my simulations, I was busy and I made this. This is the Celinar System, and in this video I will be going over everything in the system. It does not feature many like you saw with the regular solar system. There's a bunch of minor objects, asteroids, comets, things like that. This does not have that for simplicity, and for another reason which I will get to later. So we're starting out with the star itself. It is almost the same mass as the Sun, quite small radius, and is a main sequence star, very similar to Alpha Centauri, almost identical. First planet in the solar system is Mer. It is a rocky world, does not have any water. This is a rocky substance, making these dark spots. Looking at its surface from above, it's kind of the overview of it. You have, I guess, what would be like northern rocky plateaus, southern flats, and the giant spots. If I press play here, you could watch as it rotates around. You can see the whole view of the planet with its large spot and other dark spot, or its dark spots and the larger one. So that was Mer. Moving out, next would be Icor, or Ictor, sorry. Some of these were procedural names. This one is still off-gassing, I think. Silicate? It should say, yeah, total mass, total last rate. 40 kilograms per second of, I think, what is this? Silicate, yes. So Icor is losing mass over time. It's classified as a dwarf planet. That's because a few of these dwarf planets, not Mer. Mer is classed, I think, yeah, it's classed as a planet. Icor, Sword is an odd case, and no, yeah, Icor and Sword are both. Sword is classed as a planet. Icor is classed as a dwarf planet. Icor is Ictor. I keep calling it Icor. Ictor is classed as a dwarf planet, as it was once a moon. Yeah, its surface looks kind of like this. It's very dusty, rocky, very full of silicate. So it's kind of like and what's its temperature? Yeah, quite hot still. Mer and most of these inner planets kind of are like Mercury. There's not really a Venus planet that's super hot because of atmosphere. Next out would be Sword. Sword. It's quick, fast rotation. This is a very, like, a deserty planet. Really hot. It's just another kind of dead world. Not very interesting. Next one out is interesting. This was the planet that these two once planets, Icor and Sword, these were once moons of Runatem. Runatem is a very hot world. I go to surface temperature. It goes from okay. It goes from about 103 degrees Celsius all the way to 133 degrees Celsius. So, it gets hotter sometimes and colder, depending on the season. It does have liquid water on its surface. This probably is in a kind of limbo of liquid and gaseous state, most likely. It is mainly just dusty, has some liquid water. It is one of the major planets. Mer is kind of a minor planet, but it is part of the main system. Icor and Sword are minors. Would be in the same class as Pluto as a minor stellar object. Pluto, even though right now is classed as a dwarf planet, would still be classed as like a minor dwarf planet, where it'd be like it's still like still have a class of planet, rather would be a minor planet. The moon would also classify as a minor planet under the new idea of what we should classify planets as, based on geographic or like instances, like if it has tectonic plates or volcanic activity, then it should be classed as a planet if it has more of those things rather than just position. Because if you put the Earth in orbit around Jupiter, it would be classed as a moon under the current one. So yeah, besides that little science rant, we're going to continue on. From Runatem, which has been rotating here, out to Ischia. Ischia is an interesting world. It's looking at habitable zone. Ischia is located in the red zone, so it should be very kind of hot in this red zone, kind of too hot for habitable worlds, for the most part. Moving on to Earth would be located in this kind of middle zone here. In this area, Mars is kind of out here. Yeah, but Ischia is in this redder zone, yet it is very cold here. Average temperature of negative 23 degrees Celsius. Its surface temperature ranges all the way up to 9 degrees Celsius and all the way down to negative 64. It's kind of a weird surface temperature looking at sea level. It's a little bit more uniform in temperature. At sea level, it only goes from 6 or 7 degrees up to 9 degrees Celsius, whereas these higher elevations get a lot colder. So this is kind of a cold frozen world, even though it's quite close to the center of the solar system, or the Celinar System. It has a moon called Donvakit. It is a kind of rocky, regular moon. It is very dark and in color, browns and black. yeah, orbits-ish, yeah. Yeah. Next up is the most interesting. Now this will become officially the planet of the lore of my channel. Estevir will be the planet of Slovenia and everything else that comes within it. This is a habitable world. Nice 30 degrees Celsius, a little on the warm side. Its temperature goes from, let's see here, 5 degrees all the way up to 48. So it's like its lower regions are really warm, where it has these colder regions kind of sporadically around, whereas this shows that it kind of has this odd color or this odd temperature differentiation. Elevation map, displacement map, there's no displacement, water depth, ice thickness, there is just crazy vapor pressure. Normal stuff. Daylight. See, this is the daylight cycle. It will shift. It has seasons. It wobbles on its axis much like Earth, so it will have more or less sunlight throughout the year. Its year is equivalent to 9 months, so it's 3 months shorter years, but it has a rotational period of almost a little longer than a day. So yeah, that is the planet. It has the cities on it, and it has a moon called Moonert. Moonert is very similar to our moon, very rocky. It has less craters, more striations, and possible water pathways, probably lava channels rather than water. It is much like our moon. Looking at its mass compared to the moon, it is actually 2 times as massive as the moon, Estevir being a little larger than Earth. But yeah, compared to the moon, it's actually a lot denser than the moon, as it is twice as massive. It has about the same radius, so twice as dense. Next out is another, what I would consider a minor planet. Estevir was once again a moon of a planet, and is now a rock just floating around in space. It is, how cold is it? Yeah, it is cold on this planet, ranging not much temperature difference, only between negative 36 and negative 34 degrees Celsius, kind of same all across the planet. Doesn't really have much of an atmosphere at all, really. It only has some hydrogen, really has no atmospheric pressure or anything around. It's really just a cold, icy world. Elevation there. It does have geographic tendencies, so this would classify as a planet, but I'd say it's a minor, very minor planet. Liquid water exists, I guess, in a maybe not. Shouldn't really. And their ice thickness, that shows up very nicely. But yeah, it's kind of just a very cold, icy rock. Not much to talk about. Dunas, on the other hand, is more interesting world, as it is in a binary with Enos. Dunas is cold, very cold, actually a lot colder than some of these other worlds that are closer yet still are very cold, with an average temperature of negative 97. Its range is negative 97 to negative 96, so it's always freezing cold on the planet, no matter where you go. There's its elevation map. There is a displacement map, yeah, because there have been, to get Dunas the way it is, it's had some collisions over time, forming some interesting craters and locations on the planet. If I look in aerial view, you can see over here there should be an impact crater. Probably that one, or maybe this one. I think it is this one. Kind of see it there. It's kind of darker. But yeah, it's kind of just a kind of Marsy in a way, much like Mars. Enos. Enos is another habitable world. This one is actually, if I look at composition, it is 86% Earth-like, life likelihood of 21%. I'd say that likelihood is probably a little bit higher. I mean, Enos kind of pulls on a lot and would make these oceans have like crazy tides. It has ice. Ice thickness can be shown here. Water depth, some areas that fluctuates. Elevation map, back to aerial. So yeah, this is another interesting planet. It does have life. I would suggest this is far enough in the future that the people of Estevir managed to get over here, and that this is not a separate intelligent species, rather just a colonized look at this world. Though this world would probably have some native organisms. It's nice temperature. That's on the chilly side, but it will fluctuate depending on the seasons. This is its seasons operate in, like, mostly when I'm saying season, I'm talking about seasonal fluctuations due to orbital path rather than on axis tilt, because the axis tilt will cause localized seasons, but with when it gets closer to the star at some times, and then further away other times, so it'll fluctuate up to about 20 degrees Celsius. So basically Earth. It is its rotational period is about a day and a half, so it's a little longer day. This says its orbital period is 1.32 days, but that's Dunus. So it actually has an odd moon cycle where where they're not moons, they're just this. I think this is, yeah, that's called a moon. They're in a binary, so they're planets to each other, kind of moons to each other. So this one would basically say that, like, for every day on the planet, it's having about almost a moon cycle. The rotational period on this one is 2.2 days, so a lot longer. But as you can see down in the corner here, this system goes around the star every approximately 1 year. So a year in this binary is a year, same on Earth, and a day is approximately a day. There are some slight differences. These have very little mass in comparison to Earth, only being 0.1, around 0.1 Earth mass, and having a radius. That one has a radius of half, and that one has a radius of about half as well. So they're about half as big as Earth, and way less massive. And so once again, we move out to Unos. This is just a name it made. Unos has some interesting things about it. It is another icy world. Apparently, I did not notice this from the map before. What's its temperature range here? Yeah, still way too cold. So, another frozen world. The others weren't necessarily, I wasn't trying to make them frozen worlds, they just happened to be. Another frozen world. That's aerial view. Don't know what these are. Sea level temperature. Elevation map. Displacement, there's no displacement. There's thickness. Is there any liquid water? Not really. Yeah, millimeters. So, occasionally some ice will melt on the planet and then instantly refreeze. Maybe like some geysers or something. Yeah, put in the comments down below. What do you think about this one? Or any of these planets, really? What if you have any lore about them? I might give like some backstory lore here. I'm going to, of course, you know, focusing more on Ezra. But if you have some backstory for maybe like Eunice. And as you might notice, Dunas, Eunice, and Unas are all similarly named. I kind of named, well, this was automatic, Dunas was next, and then Eunice just came from that. Next is our first gas giant, Agora. That was the name that it was randomly generated for. There are 5 moons of note. They're the big. They would be the biggest. There probably is more, but to save on memory space and whatnot, we went with the main 5 of Kipikard, Nustius, Epicard, Duposta, and Chipani. Yeah, I have trouble pronouncing most of these because they're either randomly generated or randomly generated and then me just adding extra bits or deleting bits, messing with how it is. So, let's see, which one do we want to start with? Let's go with Sipicard, yeah. Sipicard, basic moon, really nothing interesting about it. There's kind of what it looks like. It is, I think, the closest moon. Nustius is kind of close too, but I think this one might be the closest. Its companion, Icor, is Epicard. Yeah. Epicard, or whatever, however it's pronounced. It's its companion, as it's very similar in look, surface-wise. So it was named similarly. So Sipicard, and I think, yeah, Sipanane derives its name also from the same beginning because Sipanane is very similar in appearance. So it's a trio of very similar moons of Sipicard, Epicard, Sipanane. Then we have these two, which are also very similar, starting with Nustius is a lot like Io in a way. Has a lot of this yellow. It's very toxic world, although it does not seem to have any volcanic activity or geological activity at the moment. It's probably a lot like Mars in a way where it once had activity and it has slowly died out over time. And then Nuposta is just a kind of generic rocky moon. Related in a way because it has a lot of flat plateaus. So, yeah, Agora and its moon system out there. And then next is the one that I can never really pronounce. It is Tum Nustat Temp. It's Tum Nusta Tempest. Tum Nusta Tempest. Yeah, it is hard to pronounce. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it is super hard to pronounce. This is like the Saturn of the system. It is rings. Very weird ring structure. This was once a very organized ring structure, much like Saturn. In fact, I used Saturn's rings as a template for this. The rings have gotten disorganized over time, forming into a weird interlooping, looping structure where particles come up and loop around and then go down all over the place. They are all over the place with the ring structure. In fact, there are small ring particles that have escaped outward. This planet has, once again, 5 moons. The rings is what takes up the most memories, and that's why this doesn't have that much. But the closest moon to the planet is Newstein. Icy, I think. Is it icy? No, it's not icy. Looks icy, but it's not. It's just probably some chemical oxide, maybe a copper oxide or something on its surface. Where Mars is more reddish, probably iron oxide. This is probably a copper oxide on its surface, mixed with maybe some iron oxide in these hilly regions. Probably a good place to go mining operation, perhaps, in the future. Let me know in the comments. Next out, I think, yeah, is Lustafar. I think the first part of the name was Lusta, and then I had the far. It's kind of a reference to Mustafar. It's not hot and lavy, but it is kind of deserty in a way. It's really cold. Actually, I haven't been checking the temperature on some of these planets. Yeah, very cold. This one's not as cold. So you could probably, live okay-ish. It does have an atmosphere. Where is that located? Here. It does have an atmosphere. About the same atmosphere as Mars. So this is basically a moon that is like Mars. I think I don't have a reference to that, but it is way smaller than Earth and Mars. But it has a very similar atmospheric density. So in fact, this planet would have, per scale, even though its atmosphere is only about as Mars, it'd probably have, per unit volume, probably a better atmosphere, more akin to Earth. Still not livable though. Nowhere close. Maybe you could terraform it, probably not. Pilibur is another generic moon. This one had geologic activity. Probably some sort of liquid water, maybe at some point, ice, something, to make these weird striations and water flows on the surface. Maybe it had some water. But something happened to it. Maybe it just off-gassed or something, got sucked in. Who knows? I guess next would be Antinax. Oof. Some of these randomly generated names capped just because they're generic planet moons. And yeah, this is another generic moon. Very similar, oddly, to some of the moons in the Agora, orbiting Agora. Rutuden, I think that's how I'm going to pronounce it, is actually a more interesting planet, moon, really. Yeah, it's very small compared to Earth, I think. Yeah, it's not even as big as the moon, although it is kind of close. Probably very close to some of the moons in our universe with our solar system with Jupiter. Probably closer to maybe like I don't know, Europa or something in size. Very cold, no water. It is kind of barren and generic, but it was custom colored to make it look cool. And now we go into the boring section of the two ice giants. Yeah. I don't know why I went with the same... Like, the outer solar system kind of models are with the two major gas giants and two minor ice giants. I do not have any more out beyond there. But you might... If you comment down below, if you want to add, like, minor planetoids or minor planets out here, like a Pluto or something else, put it down in the comments. I might add it. These two don't have any moons as of yet. I might remove the ring structure from there, and then I could add more, because in the base solar system they don't have rings on Saturn for conserving the game performance. So I might remove the rings so that we can add more to this system, and then just have this as kind of a maybe a singular like system showing off the ring system of that planet. These are generic ice giants. Oddly, so these I placed in, I didn't mess with their composition or anything. Oddly, these are true ice giants. They're not really true ice giants are basically just really cold, smaller. I guess maybe having some water in them. But this has like a lot of water. It has more iron in it than hydrogen, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. So if you were to go, and this is, okay, that's solid water, so is it ice? I don't know. It might be ice giant. So I don't know what you'd would encounter on this ice giant. Very interesting indeed. 7 Earths and a 3 Earth radius. Very small ice giant, really. Very small, dense ice giant. And then, of course, at the very end, Urca, once again, having a crazy amount of water on it. A lot less iron. Still, more silicate than hydrogen, which is, again, crazy, which means this thing is crazy dense. It's actually, this thing is not bad. Man, this is pretty much just water. It's slightly more dense than water. Overall. 16 Earths, 4 Earths, so it's a bit more massive, which is odd because it's further out. But this one, yeah, as you can see, they look very similar. If I were to compare aerial views side by side, you'd see that they're very similar, but this one has different stripe pattern where it's darker in the center and lighter on the edges. The cold, kind of dead world doesn't really have anything in it. But yeah, that's the Celinar System. If you want to add something, add something to it, see more, maybe show the progression of Estevir, launch some maybe missions using just some of these generic items, like maybe using third stage of Saturn V as like like a kind of a placeholder for like their own space shuttle or space craft of some sort, or some of these other like Juno, Voyagers, Cassini, Parker, maybe a Tesla Roadster, some satellites in the James Webb. Do they have the New Horizons? Do they have Hubble? Guess not. Why don't they have? I mean, they have James Webb, but where's Hubble? Hubble is nice. It still is. It's still functioning. Kind of outdated now that we have James Webb, though. But yeah, like we could add like satellites in orbit, different orbits, or James Webb, and yeah, and I think I'll use this map. No, not that. I think I'll use this visual map here for like my lore and everything. This is a 2D map, but I used for reference of a 3D globe for others. But yeah, like if I were to pick a location for like happenings in the world since the where's a cold spot? Where is a cold spot located? Yeah, so right in here is cold. Yeah. So we'll put it up in here. So this is up in this corner. So this is in this hotter-ish region. 20 degrees, 30 degrees. In this region. Never really gets freezing on this planet. That's fine. We can mess with that, edit it, and make it work. But yeah, so I'm thinking up here in this northern region, so on the map, maybe up here would be the capital area. Probably in this teeny tiny area, because the capital area that I have mapped out is very small. Probably only a few kilometers. So, in fact, since it's only a few kilometers and this is the radius of the Earth, pretty much, it could be anywhere we choose. So we could probably place it anywhere on this map. If I look at, like, daylight and I add that, where does it look like there's a capital city? Where there's ocean. Does that look? Capital city enough? I mean, the area I chose did have some cityscape. I mean, it seems like the largest city is like right around here. You don't get to, like, this area is not illuminated right now, so we can't really see if that place gets dark. But if I speed up time, it's kind of flashy. Hang on. I'm just gonna cut this out. There we go. Now I get to see. As it's now in the winter time. So So yes. So this looks right. So this area, somewhere around here, will be the location of Slovenia, the country, the capital, the everything. So located up in that region. So I was right. Let's look at this map. So up in here, this region right here, Slovenia. Let's fill in the blanks and create some countries. So if you want to make your own country on this planet, Esra, you want to be part of my lore, I want you to comment down below what you want to add. So you can pick a location on this map. You can take a picture of this map, save it, use Photoshop, Photopea, whatever you want. Draw in a location of your empire. Now the old period, so during the medieval medieval period era will probably extend just to this area right here, a small kingdom, and then World War I period should see it expand about to right around like this region, and then where I'm at now, World War II, will definitely extend out to probably like a region like this. I'll have to figure out where the current map would fit in, probably somewhere like down in here, maybe. Maybe even somewhere over here. I'll figure out where the oceans and rivers and lakes and everything lines up properly, and I'll pick that to show where maybe like a colony would be or whatever. But it doesn't matter. I guess the eventual rise of Istria, I forgot how to pronounce it, will probably pop up somewhere in the kind of mid-temperature range areas. So probably these lowlands here will maybe some of these other areas. Yeah, the lowlands throw me off because it makes it look like ocean area, but I don't. The elevation in these areas. Let's pick. So that's it's like right. Where's a good representation? Like right in there. It's like 4 or 5 kilometers above sea level, I guess. So yeah, like these regions are probably filled with very low-lying areas, probably with flooding or something. Maybe because it's kilometers up, so maybe not. I might tweak the coloring to make it look a little bit more distinct, so that it doesn't look exactly like just almost like shallow ocean. Well, it would still work if it were shallow ocean. Yeah, I could stare at this for hours and hours and hours looking at it. But yeah, I'll leave you at the view of Esra. So, I hope you enjoyed this kind of first episode look at Universe Sandbox 2. Hope you see you again, maybe in this, maybe in some other videos. Come back, please. More content on the way. Hopefully shorter length. I want to get on to, I'll officially say it now, PWA server. Promote that once it comes back online. Yeah, more to come. More series, more things to come. So stay tuned for that. I'll see you in another episode. Maybe not this. Maybe something else. Anyways, till next time, I'm Willman15. Goodbye.